This past week, had the very sad occasion of visiting with a couple of friends who, the week before, lost a young adult child to suicide. And they told us at length about the history that had led to that, a history of alcoholism over a decade and attempts at treatment and other interventions that ultimately did not work. And as that part of the conversation wound down, the stepmom said to us, "I don't know how people who don't believe in God can deal with something like this." And they both talked about the hope they have that the mercy of God has the final say in all of this, and that there is a place of no more pain, only love, and the glory of God. And we prayed together for the repose of his soul. And I ask you all to pray for him too. And I agreed with her in her sentiment of wondering how people can live through hard times, especially such hard times like this one, with no higher power to turn to when we realize how powerless we are, with no hope of there being a life after death. How bleak that would be. These were the exact consolations that were given to Peter, James, and John at the Transfiguration, and given to Jesus in his humanity too. The Gospels tell us that in Luke, that Moses and Elijah were talking with Jesus about his approaching suffering and death. A horrible prophecy. It would have been very hard for Jesus' humanity to take. Certainly confusing and fearful, dreadful for the apostles to hear. And this is why the Transfiguration is so important. To assure Jesus in his humanity that there is glory on the other side of suffering and death. To assure the apostles, to assure us of that as well. Peter, in his letter that we heard in the second reading, years later recounts the power of that event as a lamp shining in a dark place. We all go through some very dark places in our lives. Mostly maybe not quite as dark as what my friends are going through right now. But when we do, let us see the Transfiguration and remember it as a light, reminding us in the temporary dark places we go through, remind us of the permanent glory that is to come.